For those of you who haven't watched Life 2017, the movie, oh, you are missing it, especially if you are an Alien like Ridley Scott aficionado. I recently did a recap / review of the movie. It wasn't really a recap, but I guess you can kind of put it in that category, about the Alien movie. So if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, I would strongly advise that you go watch that video first. For those of you who do know Life and you are obsessed with it as I am, let's talk about some of the issues or events in the movie. In this video, we're going to be covering the theory, or rather a hypothetical, what if the humans never attacked Calvin? Many who've watched the movie didn't realize that Calvin actually only attacked when he was attacked. Check out these series of clips and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It first started when Hugh was trying to revive Calvin and he decided to shock him with what he thought was a low dose of electricity. Shit indeed. Calvin did not like that very much, and he thought his life was in danger. Also figured that this thing probably has way more nerve endings than we do, since they even said in prior scenes that Calvin's nerves, each of his cells, were nerves, muscles, and eyes. So he fought off Hugh and started into G.I. Joe mode, like Rambo mode, like kill everybody mode, they're trying to kill me, these aliens are evil mode. After he escapes, the next encounter he has is caressing a rat, and then the rat attacks him, albeit in its defense. Then he grabs onto Wade Wilson's leg, hoping to escape, never having attacked the man, and the man takes an oxygen candle and burns him off with it. Then he takes an incinerator to it. You can imagine by now, Calvin is like, what the hell are these things? Whatever they are, they're all hostile. So he replies in kind. I hate that scene so much. Oh my god. Can we just say how great of an actor Ryan Reynolds is? Jesus Christ, we don't give him enough credit. We always see him in funny stuff, but this is actually the first serious thing I've seen him in, and he sold his role. Anyways, moving on. They find him feasting on his surrogate daddy's leg, and they decide to shock him off, which honestly to me makes no sense, because it's like the perfect time to escape since the guy he's feeding on is already dead. Notice he wasn't attacking anyone except for feeding on the guy's leg. We'll talk about that in another video as well. So he retaliates after they shock him. You can imagine Calvin saying in his head, now why would you have to go and do that? Huh?
Get out of here.
What was the end game after that? But whatever. He retaliates by going to kill them. Keep in mind, he had been in the room with them the entire time. He only started giving chase after the rest of them because they actively tried to hurt him. At this point, it has occurred to Calvin that these things are all hostile, and for him to survive, he's going to have to get rid of all of them, at least to even out the numbers.
Hey guys.
After not being able to find a way inside this little space bed, you can see the look on Calvin's face. You can almost make out the face on his face and how angry he looks. That's the look of somebody who wants to kill you freaking dead. As Hugh had said, Calvin was just trying to survive, and he had no ill will to these people in the beginning. But now he does. God, I love this movie. I can just watch it over and over and over and over again. Oh my god. So, the question is, now that we've noticed this, what would have happened if the humans had never attacked? What would have happened if Hugh or the others hadn't been responsible and caused that system failure in the lab so that they would have to feel the need to revive Calvin in that way? Was shocking him the best thing to do? No. But also, for the benefit of the humans, I don't think they ever imagined that they would have to deal with the freaking Grim Reaper or the unkillable planarian starfish thing. They would have never foresaw this, but that's the whole reason why there are protocols in place so that you think about everything imaginable. I hope this movie finds NASA and they learn from this hypothetical mistake. Okay, So, Calvin was all sweet and kind before, at least that's how the humans would anthropomorphize him. Everyone was romantically just happy about how Calvin was growing and how he was so adaptive. And we're thinking that if the humans had never attacked Calvin, he would not have seen them as a threat. He wouldn't have the need to retaliate. It is very possible that Calvin took on the shape and attitude that he took on in response to the hostility of his environment. For all we know, he could have been an asset to the humans. He could have grown strong and he could have protected them and fixed things on the ship. We don't know that. But here's why I think it would have ended up just as badly even if they did not attack Calvin. One of the space station personnel was making a log into her little recorder, and she said that maybe it was a good idea that the lab malfunctioned and Calvin went back into dormancy because she was worried that it was growing so fast.
Honestly, I'm relieved. Calvin was growing very fast, and this has now given me time to reinforce firewall precautions with the crew. The box must stay sealed. The lab must stay sealed.
Imagine if Calvin had just kept growing. The oxygen, the nutrients, whatever it was that was in the air that they were feeding him, he would have kept growing past what he already was. Eventually, he would have gotten too big for the firewall container that he was in with the gloves. They would have realized that they were losing control of the situation and they would have tried to put him to sleep. They would have tried to do something that he would have taken to be a hostile act. By that time, he would have already been too big and would have tried to find a way to slip out. Or he would have grown to the size where he would just burst out of it. The other scenario as to why Calvin would end up eating all the humans or killing them anyway is because even though he seemed really curious in the beginning, eventually a creature like that is going to need nutrients. Where is he going to get them from? At some point, Calvin is going to try and explore a part of the ship that's going to cause a malfunction or is going to be a detriment to the humans. They're going to try to put him back in his place, as gentle as they know how. He's not going to listen, and just like a large tiger or wild animal that has the instinct to feed and protect itself when something threatens its dominance or threatens its survival, he will turn against the humans. Maybe he wouldn't kill them, but he'd probably break their hand or do something similar to what he did to Hugh. Remember, Calvin is not a terrestrial creature in terms of he's not something from Earth, so his biology could be very different than what we have on Earth, even though he is made of the same building blocks for life and he requires the same sustenances. He does have the ability to grow and adapt into something that we've never seen on our planet. Many people have snakes and they never have an issue with the snakes, but if you don't feed those snakes, or you piss them off, or if you have tarantulas and you don't feed them, or you piss them off, or you do something wrong way, or make a sudden movement that they don't like, they really don't care if you think that they're your pet. They will kill you. They will inject their venom into you. They will constrict their bodies around you and squeeze until all your bones are broken and you're basically crapping out your insides. This is the deal with Calvin. He is as wild as it gets. He's not just a wild animal on Earth. He is a wild alien extraterrestrial organism. The humans have no idea how he works. Eventually, even if there wasn't an incident, he would get so big to the point where they would start panicking. They were like, okay, listen, we need to subdue this thing or eject it into outer space. Everything leads to them doing that. I don't think the others, even if Hugh was okay with Calvin staying on board, becoming as large as the ship, the others would not be okay with that. And for him to get that large, he would have to feed on something. Now you may say that, well, Calvin wouldn't feed on them and he could stay in that small state as long as he had. That's not true. Calvin has to eat. Remember, he was out in space and he required oxygen. He was trying to survive and he needs nutrients to survive. He needs nutrients to grow and to operate. So it's either he's going to eat up all the food that is designated for the people on the space station, or he's going to end up eating them because he has nothing else to eat. It's nothing personal against them. He just needs to eat a piece of their leg or their finger or something to sustain himself. Obviously, the astronauts would not be okay with that. I don't think he would outward attack them to kill them, but he would want to feed off of them. I think based on what we've seen here in the movie, Calvin is an opportunist and he's a predator when need be, and he's also a parasite when need be. He kind of fills all the niches of the food chain except for that of the prey. For those of you who are confused and saying that he could go without food for a long time and he wouldn't eat the humans, This is not the case. If you're going to use Mars as an example, he was dormant because there was no other life on Mars to properly sustain him, so the tissue or the organism itself at its basal structure lay dormant until there was a proper condition for it to then grow into an organism that would require these nutrients the same way that we do. And eventually, Calvin would run out of food. He would feel the need to keep growing. For all we know, and we can talk about that in another video, Calvin could have been responsible for erasing whatever life or advanced life was on Mars before. Maybe he's a parasite that came from another planet or solar system, and they settled down on Mars and they killed and fed on everything, like the pitch black Bioraptor aliens, like the xenomorphs, and like most of the other monster movie aliens that we've seen in other films. Also consider that Calvin adapts super quickly to his environment, so he requires a lot more energy than we do to keep himself running. If there's an absence of nutrients or the stuff that he needs to keep himself alive, then he will go into a dormant state. However, if he sees bags of meat roaming around the place, logically he's going to make the assumption that he can still live because there's nutrients here. Must eat those. I'm not going to kill those other guys because I might need them for later. I'm just going to feed off of the hand of this thing because at least it can stay alive as long as possible so I can feed on it later. That's probably what Calvin is thinking. And contrary to what we would like to believe in a perfect world, Calvin does not care about the humans. He doesn't know what they are. He does not identify with them, and don't mistake his curiosity in the beginning for him liking the humans or wanting to be their friend. As far as he's concerned, we're just these things, similar to how we would view a tree or some kind of material growing from out of the ground. And it turns out they can also be eaten so he can survive. That's all there is to it. So that answers the question. If the humans never attacked Calvin, they may have stayed alive a lot longer and he would have been a lot more docile for a longer period of time. But if he got hungry enough, he would get curious enough to feel out the environment and quickly figure out what was to be eaten and what was not to be eaten. The humans, if they didn't start feeding him some frozen chicken or whatever they had in their little astronaut fridge, would have been on the menu eventually. They definitely weren't prepared for something like this, for a creature like Calvin to grow to the size that he could grow just having a few nutrients. But what do you guys think? This was an amazing movie, and there are more videos like this to come. I think I'll just cover a whole bunch of videos this week on Life because I just love it so much. And surprisingly, there are not a lot of videos on YouTube covering all of these questions that so many people, including myself, have about the movie. In the following videos, we are going to cover a lot of the questions that you had, even questions I had that I figured out the answer to, such as why didn't Calvin kill Jake Gyllenhaal when he reached to Earth? How can Calvin survive on Earth's gravity? Why did he have those web things around there? Why didn't Hugh realize that Calvin was on his leg? Just a whole bunch of stuff like that. Anyways, guys, if you like these kind of videos, then stay tuned. Keep checking back because a lot of you are saying you're not getting the notifications for the videos. It's YouTube. Even though you ring the notification bell, it doesn't work. You have to keep coming to check back. I'm so sorry about that. But we post videos on this channel almost every day. So just keep checking back. And if you really are interested in seeing this alien movie still here and you've gotten spoilers and you don't care, you just want to go back and watch it, it is available on all the platforms. I got it on Amazon Prime, where you can pay like $3 for it, or you can try and see if you watch it on Kodi or something. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.